What's up, guys, and welcome to the live podcast. The first of all, happy Mental Health Month. Today we have Stacy, host of the Bitcoin Nova and Hive Minded 21, and one of the driving forces behind the Bitcoin army with over 9,300 members. Stacy, thank you for coming on. Today we are going to deep in your podcast journey. Let's go.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Stacy, take us back to the very beginning. What made you decide to start Bitcoin Nova podcast? Was there any specific moment or frustration that pushed you to hit record?
Yes, there were a couple of things that led up to it, but mainly it was the community. It was the Bitcoin Army community that was a huge part of that because being in Bitcoin for a few years, I had been navigating this on my own and figuring out what it was. I was always on this search for truth in the world. I loved science and physics and stuff like that. So when I found Bitcoin, I was researching it and I went down that path by myself. So after a few years of being in it, I got my husband into Bitcoin and then I started connecting with people on X and we started creating this community. So that led to the creation of the Bitcoin Army. And it was a lot of the community building that was going on at the time where I always give credit to Paula from the Bitcoin Edge. I love her because she noticed the community building that was going on and she asked me to be on her show to talk about it and to discuss what we've done and how we've grown it and what it is. And it was such a great conversation because I was terrified to join a podcast for the first time. I had been posting on X and inspiring people to share their thoughts and type, but I had not been speaking myself yet publicly. I hadn't even done a Twitter space. So when she asked me to join, I was super nervous, but I did tell him, definitely encouraged me to do it. He said that I could talk about Bitcoin all day. So of course, why wouldn't I join? And it was the best thing I ever did because I talk all day at my regular job. So it was an easy transition. And especially getting to talk about something I was so passionate about, it made it super easy. So when the episode was shared, the community was really excited about it because they had gotten to know me through the connections we made. And they were asking randomly, when I should start my own or when I will start my own podcast. And I thought maybe in a few years or someday. But, my husband kept telling me to start one. So one day I just did. I just created a channel and I put some feelers out there for the community and asked if anybody wanted to be a guest on my show. I thought I would just get crickets. I didn't know who would do it, but people started reaching out one by one or people would suggest another friend and I ended up filling up pretty quick. So I don't know how many episodes I've done in the first year, but it was scary. The first moment I started was a community member. The first few guests were community members and they were all so excited and they were nervous also. I think for the first maybe 20, 30 episodes, I was very nervous every time I pressed record. And I didn't know what I was doing as far as equipment. I just used my regular PC, like the built-in camera that was on my laptop to start. That's how I started. I didn't have any special camera equipment. I didn't know what I was doing. I just pressed record, but it was so much fun. And I felt so energized after talking to every person that it just kept me wanting to do it. I just was so excited to even speak to the person I was talking to that I didn't really mind or care if I wasn't getting a lot of traction online because for me, it was about the connection. So it was very fulfilling. And I'm so glad that I got over the fear because it was terrifying.
Yeah, and I understand that. I just when you are talking, I just remember my first the space on live on X. Wow, it was really intense, really.
Sometimes I get even more nervous, I think, speaking on a live space than I do on a podcast because it feels like it is this one-on-one conversation. And when you get on X Spaces, it's a whole group of people listening, even if it's not hundreds, even if it's 20 people or something, it's still a little bit, I don't know, it's a little scary for me still sometimes, but I've been trying to do it more.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just 6 months in this game, 6 or 7 months in this game, and I completely understand that feeling like a little bit of scared. And for me, it's more difficult because it's not my main language. So it's like 100% more difficult. But you have absolutely right. The people behind you can help you so much. They
I
can
love
help.
that. Yeah, it's really great that you did this and you're doing it when it's not even your first language. That's huge props. Just starting and doing that and talking to people and, doing it in English because so many people have that as a common language. So great job for pressing record and just getting out there and doing it because that can be extra scary. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, is sometimes it is, but like I have so lucky to good guesses. Like 90% are good. Are normal people, not like some people. So like yeah, and it's yeah like. But for me, it's harder do like live on like Twitch, Twitter, or than this. It's harder, much more
Yeah,
harder.
yeah, it is. It's just, I think that also because you have that level of anonymity behind you on Twitter, so you have your, avatar and you don't have to show your real face, but I know people do podcasts without video. They have just a picture, so they don't always have to show their face or they could just do podcasts not on YouTube. They could do it on Spotify or something without showing their face, but still, it's something where you have that level of secrecy and you feel protected and not as vulnerable. So that can be a way where that can feel safer.
And that's true. And I just remember my first ever episode I did with friend of my friend, and it was so scary. Like, like it was like the whole new world to me. And like you said, in podcasting, you cannot look for the numbers because it's very long game. It's very long. Like it's not like some funny videos like 1 million like views. It's very long games, and it's not about get famous or something like that. It's about meet new people and
Yeah.
had this
Me
this interaction.
Yes, it's the interaction's been amazing, and I've met so many new people since doing a podcast, and that's why my panel when I spoke in Vegas was the first time this year was the first time I started speaking this year at Bitcoin conferences. And the panel that I had in Vegas was about why we need more Bitcoin podcasts out there. And that's one of the reasons the connections are huge. You just meet so many amazing people building so many amazing things, and it's so inspiring see the work that they're doing because they want to see this better future and create the world they want to live in. And also the fact that even if it's not about numbers or, gaining all these subscribers or so many views, the good thing is even one person, even if it's just one person that reaches out or comments on a video and responds and I don't know, it's just this crazy amount of energy you get from that one comment. It fuels you to keep going because you know that that person really loved that episode for different reasons and they're sharing it with other people. Maybe it's somebody who's never, heard that perspective before, or maybe it's somebody that just came across the channel that's never heard anything about Bitcoin and stop to listen and maybe they start to wonder, so even if you help one person, that's what I mean is the one person you might reach is worth it just because it feels so fulfilling to share this new system with people.
I think that's true. And for me, is like my because my biggest happy moment is not like when I get like 100 views or something like that, but like when guesses we are ending, he said, "Good job, we are doing it again." In sometimes that's for me is like the best review I can have.
That's so true. That's how I feel too. I love seeing the views go up, but sometimes seeing the likes actually is really great because you know that those likes are actually, you just wonder who's coming across your video. Am I just really good at tagging the video where people are coming across it and leaving? I don't know what these numbers are, but when I see the likes coming in and when I see the comments and when I actually see posts on X or people sharing it, it just makes you feel like it's real people that are seeing it and they actually appreciate the work that you're putting in to share this message and to spread the word and to share inspiration. So yeah, it really means a lot to hear some feedback. It's not like you want to do it for an ego boost, but it is a lot of work. So it's just kind of like energizing your energy. Like you need to refuel sometimes and you just can keep going knowing that people are watching it, knowing that it's not just you're just getting into the algo and people are watching your channel and hitting a button for subscribing. But like, because that's how I feel sometimes. My channel's grown. I've been doing it for about a year and a half now. I'm getting close to 100 podcast episodes. I think I just released my 96th episode.
Nice.
So I'm amazed with the growth, but when I hear you're right, like I'm excited about that, but I'm even more excited when I hear an uplifting comment or reaction to an episode they've seen.
And another thing is like even when one person get like or share it on X or share it to anything, it's like so good because your voice matter. Somebody want to hear you, and this is so good.
Yeah, and it's great because then they like the way you host the podcast. They like to see your consistency. If you do a couple episodes and leave, it's hard, but if you're there, they can rely on you being consistent. But the other thing is, the guests are amazing. Like I've had people ask me who my favorite guest was, and I can't choose. I've had the best conversation with every guest that's been on my show, and they've all been so unique. And I really just love every single conversation, and they're all different. All the people are different, so it's trying to highlight their voice. And there's been many who are bigger name guests who I've spoken with. There's some leaders in the space, innovators, but there's also people who have never spoken before, just like I was. And I enjoy doing episodes with those people because they can be an inspiration for another new person and maybe reach somebody new. So that's our whole ethos. Like Paula's the one who brought me in, and Jeff Booth brought her in, and it's like one of these things that it's this inspiration loop, and the next person fuels and the next group of people. And the more of us that are out there, the more that people will find it. There's so much content out there in the world. There's so much video games and funny videos and all the stuff, but there needs to be a lot more Bitcoin and less just crypto. Like there's so much
Yeah, I know.
crypto and trade in this, so there should be more Bitcoiners out there sharing their perspective.
I think you break the stigma about Bitcoin, and stigma is a scam. I think it's very good. You are doing very good job. I am like very like oh my God, and I know it can be hard for women to talk to the camera because like you have still like another stigma like woman cannot do that, it's only man and this. But I think it's a good job. You are doing a good job, and yeah.
Thank you. I do feel like that was part of the fear, I guess, for me starting was I didn't know the type of reactions I would get. I didn't know if people would be disrespectful, or as much as I believe I'm strong and I don't care, and I believe in myself, and I'm past the point in my life where I really worry about other people's opinions. I know who I am, and that's what made me feel the confidence to start. You have to be ready mentally to not worry about somebody saying something that might hurt your feelings, because I feel like I'm past that point. But there are some times where if somebody says something, as much as I think I'm past that, I kind of dwell on it for like a half a day, and
Yeah,
that's
I
still too
understand.
long. I'm like, I should just forget about this and move on. But I still it kind of sticks in my mind for a little while, but it hasn't happened very much at all, considering the amount of episodes I've posted. I mean, hardly at all. Like it's so crazy that people have been so kind and polite, and this space has been, incredible. The worst thing I've seen on my channel is just a bunch of bot army comments on a video that I just try to delete right away because I don't want people to come across it and think they should check out whatever it is they're selling, So that's the worst thing that's happened to me. So as far as the respectful people and kindness is, it makes it easier for other women to see that I'm enjoying this and I'm not feeling either attacked or called stupid or made fun of for, women are afraid of being made fun of for how they look and stuff like that. So it's nice that when people see how kind this community is and people that are searching for truth that come across your content, it's a different area of the internet, that I feel like could make you feel more comfortable joining as a woman, especially.
And
I mean, every time I do a show, I think it happens like twice, but I think in
yes,
my last episode, it happened to me at least twice, so that's totally normal. And that's the thing, people think that you can't making mistakes is a normal part of
Mhm.
doing a channel, like a podcast. Look, 96 episodes in, and I'm still forgetting where my train of thought was going. Sometimes I even keep a little notebook so I could write a word down so I can remember what, because that's helps, but I always forget to do it. And, but I think that it's okay. It's okay if that happens because you could, there's edit buttons. You could chop out a little piece and
We are gonna edit this. Okay, so yes, I think the hate is part of the game. I think like me and my mom talking about this, like you will get hate. You will get this is internet. People are anonymous. You will get hate. So and like, but other hand, like hate is always better than no reaction at all.
true. Yeah.
So it's a part of the game.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It does build a tougher skin. So if you are getting negativity, you just have to realize that you actually know these people. Like the kind of responses I'm getting on X, especially that are the ones that inspire me and give me energy, are the ones that I know that they're people that I've been interacting with for quite some time. So they are people that I value their opinions and their comments, or it's somebody that I know is a friend of someone else that I know. So those are the people that I care more about. When they say something, I'm like, oh, okay, that's great to hear. But when it's just some random, TikTok response or something, you don't know who this person is. So it's like, relax, try not to let it ruin your day.
Yeah, and I think it's very important because nobody is perfect, so you need to be just better every day for yourself, not for them, and just to be better every episode.
Yeah. And I think that the other thing is that's been a really valuable comment that I received today was about authenticity because they said that about myself on my show and my guest that I had, you know, my last episode was with my friend Joshua who struggled in his past and he,
GG.
yes, he's amazing. So, but they were saying that they appreciate the authenticity. And that is so important starting a podcast also because the amount of content we take in every day and the amount of AI and it's just, it feels very cookie cutter kind of content. And, you may think that you are not like everybody else. So why should you start a podcast because you are not a YouTuber? Well, maybe YouTube needs more non-YouTubers to join and infiltrate and give people something unique and different because everybody is so different. So don't try to be like the next person that's that's doing a podcast already. Don't just be you, just be real and people appreciate your authenticity. And I've gotten a lot of great feedback about that for me and my guests. It's nice to just let the conversation flow, even how you told me before we got on that's what you want to do. And that's definitely the vibe I like. I like it to feel like we're just hanging out and talking.
Hmm. So my next question is, what was the biggest challenge you faced in the early days of podcasting? Was it technical or issues or finding your voice or getting listeners or something else?
I think it was maybe a little bit of technical was my biggest time suck, I guess you would say, because it was finding guests was pretty easy. Again, with the community, it was pretty easy finding people to join. And every time I think I'm getting to the end of my bookings, I get a new wave of bookings. So it never slows down. I always have someone to talk to. So that's been fine. My biggest challenge was really when it came down to my equipment. And I definitely have learned with every podcast, every single episode, I learned something, but I was having audio issues through the software and I thought it was the software. And then I would have to export the audio separately from the video and I would have to try to align, the audio with the video. It was
Yeah.
such a pain. It took such an extravagant amount of time that it drove me crazy sometimes. And it happened with a few people. And I thought it was maybe their connection or mine. And then I realized a very valuable tip that every time I would export one of my podcasts to my PC, when you export them in 4K, they take up a lot of memory. So there was sometimes like 20 gigabytes worth of one podcast that was sitting on my computer. And I thought I had like an auto cleanup on my PC, but it was once a month, I think, or longer. It wasn't that often. But I would forget to get rid of these huge files. So before I would get on with the guest, I learned, which this is so valuable, is make sure your computer has enough storage. like delete things from your computer before you get started, because once I was actually on a podcast with a guest, they were glitching out and I couldn't hear them. And as they were speaking, I went in and was deleting files, and then the whole rest of the episode went smoothly. And when I go back and I heard that first 10 minutes that I had to chop up and fix the audio, that was when my computer was packed with storage. So that's a huge learning lesson. That's a huge, great tip for people, because I feel like it's happened to people before on this specific software we're using today on Riverside. And it might happen to other people on different software as well. And it's not their connection. I realize it's the storage issue, and I'm not a technologist, but it worked for me and I've never had an issue since. So I am so grateful for that tip to myself, and that's why I want to share it.
I thank you so much, because for me I was echo. But the biggest challenge I get is like a technical issue, that echo, because someone on your podcast is like easy when you have a community beside you. So that was like good in this beginning, but echo so bad. One time I did episode 7 times again, one episode with someone, because of echo and some other issues, but like echo was main.
See, for me, I haven't had, I think maybe because I used to play video games often. So I used to try to stream video games. So I remember doing that on PC. This was around the time I was getting orange pilled too. So it's funny how it happened at the same time. But I was trying to stream and I had a lot of sound issues. And when I would get on with other people, there was different mics working when they shouldn't have been on. And maybe, my controller mic was on when it should have been off. So it should have just been my headset. But so I just realized that sometimes the PC is picking up on multiple devices. So you have to turn those off. So sometimes your camera, like your webcam, their mic could be also pulling in audio. So you have to make sure through your output or whatever. Yeah, I think it's input. I think one of those settings, you have to make sure it's muted except for the one that you want. Like your mic should be the only one, not your camera, not your computer mic. Those should not be taking in audio. And I haven't had an issue, and I don't have to wear headphones on Riverside. And it does have an echo cancellation feature that I always use for every episode. So my suggestion for anybody who would have maybe possibly that, and I don't know if this would help you to do a test episode and see if possibly without headphones, if that exists still, if you were to make sure that all other devices are not taking in audio. Because that might be, I don't know, that for me, that was what it was often. And I made sure when I started that was the only mic that was, capturing anything, the mic that I'm using.
So echo was bad. And another thing was challenging is challenging like in now, but like it was there back then too. It was like time difference for me.
Yeah.
Time difference are crazy. Like it's crazy. I don't know if you face it when you have England or like other countries who speak English, but time difference are crazy.
You're so right about that. And that is something that my husband laughs at me about all the time, because it's like, even if it could be East Coast, West Coast, I'm in the Midwest, but if I'm talking to people in the United States, I just can't get the hang of it. I'm always like having to confirm with him, because I know when they say where I live, it's like, this show will be on at 7 Central. So I'm like, okay, I'm Central. So 8, it's an hour later, but I still get confused with Pacific time. And I talk to so many people in the US, and I feel like I've screwed up a few times on setting up.
Me too. Mm-hmm.
Yes, because of that. But you are in the Czech Republic, right?
Yes.
Czech Republic, and you're speaking English with a lot of American people or people from all over the world. I mean, I'm speaking to mainly Americans. I'm still screwing it up. So it's like you're talking with a lot more people with diverse time zones, but it's a normal thing. And I guess that's why when you set up your podcast schedule, it helps to send somebody your availability. But there's another challenge right there that I will bring up. Because sending someone your podcast availability, then you could set your schedule to your time. And then when they look at your calendar from their end, it'll tell them in their time. So they can easily pick a time that works for them that also works for you. So creating a schedule on Calendly or whatever, great. The only thing is, I think that people trust me when they contact me or I contact them about joining. So as the podcaster, by you sending them a link and you've already been interacting, I don't think it's as risky. But when people ask me to join my show sometimes out of nowhere, and I know some are legit, I've gotten a few people that email me and they are legit and they have joined me and they've been awesome. But there's some who try to, I don't know, they're trying to hack your computer or something, and they try to get you to click a link that will download a malicious, software onto your computer. They usually disguise it as, a Zoom. Oh, you're getting on my Zoom call, but your thing is not updated. So click this to update your Zoom. So I always use the web version of Zoom. I never download anything on my computer. That is the main thing. And actually, it's interesting. Today that was supposed to happen. So that is still a challenge, but I'm very weary of it now. And I was skeptical about this person I was supposed to join today, earlier this morning for a call. And it felt sketchy to me. And the thing is, I did book through her calendar link. Okay, fine. Everything's okay. But then I got a message last night on X that a girl wrote to me and said, hey, I saw we're mutual friends with somebody who ended up hacking into my computer. She had and she told the same story about downloading a malicious app that they disguised as something else, and they remotely start controlling your computer. So and that had happened to me about a year ago or so. So I know what it's like, and I'm very aware, and I want people to be aware of that too. So when you start a podcast, it's fine. You don't have to freak out about people sending calendar links, but just don't ever download an update to Zoom or something thinking that you need to update. I just use the web app, and if it doesn't work, don't try to download their new link, because they're going to try to get you to join through try this one, and then it'll download something. That's how they get into remotely controlling your PC and searching for ways to get into any sort of, searching if you have anything that you should never have stored on your computer. They try to look for that stuff, or they try to just get into any sort of things you don't have locked down so they can get into other accounts.
Yeah,
So
and I think this is the game. Like I'm not having yet. I'm not that big like you, so I'm not having yet.
that's what
But
I felt 6 ago. So
I understand that. Yeah, and like I think you cannot. I think only the fans is like people from X, people who knows people. Like like message a couple times together and this, but yeah, is the sacrifice you make to this happen. So yeah.
that's what I even like about on my calendar. When people request a booking, I like to ask for their X handle. And I know not everybody has X, some have LinkedIn, but I just don't use LinkedIn hardly ever. But I do request for people's X handles so that I can, what I've done is I'll message them on X after I get the email. And I'm like, hey, did you want to book with me? And they're like, yeah or no. If they don't understand what you're talking about, then their email got hacked and they're sending you some stuff and you don't know, so I try to do it that way to try to confirm or verify that it's actually them. But again, it's not crazy, and it's not. I think the biggest thing is just don't click anything. Like, even if you click a link, don't run. If it says, do you want to run this? Say, no, I'm not running any kind of link that you
Yeah.
sent me. That install something and hide it where it's not easy to see right away. So, but yeah, just being able to just stay paranoid a little bit. I like to always stay a little paranoid.
Yeah, that's true. So my next question is how has the BitcoinNova evolved since the first episode? What has changed in your style, topics, or approach over time?
Yeah, my episode, I think it started very, very similar with each guest. I started off with asking about their journey when they got into Bitcoin, because I do find all those stories fascinating still. Like I said, every one of my guests is my favorite, and I love all of it. And we still kind of get into that conversation as I continue these days. But it started off with that whole thing, like, what's your journey like? How did you find Bitcoin, and what are you building in Bitcoin now? Or are you doing anything in Bitcoin? That's kind of how my early episodes went. Now it's more about connecting sovereign ideas or ideals to Bitcoin. And it's great because you're able to, like, if my goal is to educate people about Bitcoin or help orange pill more people, I don't want to just talk about Bitcoin price only, because I'm only going to attract the people looking to trade or talk specifically about the price today. And that's like, the people I want to talk to are the people that are just dollar cost averaging long term. And those are the kind of people that I want to show by, like, your actions. What you're doing is something that resonates with other people. So we're not sitting there worrying about the price, talking about it. I want them to join the channel, find the channel so they could find Bitcoin through other means. So if it's about talking about mindset, if it's about talking about health or psychology, or if it's talking about space or physics, I love all these topics that are, a lot of curious minds are the ones who find Bitcoin. So it can attract people looking for answers or just a really interesting conversation. And then because I'm talking to mainly Bitcoiners, they are able to kind of sprinkle in a little Bitcoin to help them kind of open up their mind a little bit to it. So that's my goal now. My goal now is to keep it more broad. And even though it's called the Bitcoin Nova, I want it to have the ethos of Bitcoin and the principles of Bitcoiners, but I want it to reach people outside of our kind of niche echo chamber sort of idea. So it's been interesting, and I think people are enjoying that, being able to open up our conversation a little bit more. So that's a pretty new thing I've been doing, and I'm really enjoying it, and I've gotten really great feedback about it.
Nice, and that's nice. And I think it's very good to you evolve because I know like Bitcoin is a big thing. You can talk hours, 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 but like Bitcoin is everywhere right now. It's like almost every post on X is about Bitcoin. So it's like too much, too much.
Yeah. Yeah, and then everybody, when the price is going up, everyone's like talking about the same thing. What's
Yeah.
the reason it's going? What's the Fed doing? What's going on with the war? What's happening? And then if it drops a lot, it's like, what's happening with the oil price? What's happening with markets? What's the Fed chair thinking? And everybody's kind of like on the same, like explaining why. But when you understand Bitcoin and its network enough, and you are a true believer in this new system, you're not thinking about why any of it. You're just continuing to stack sats. So it's like, okay, it gets a little exhausting, and you're trying
Mm-hmm.
to look for something fresh, and you don't want to, I don't know. I feel like even as much as I love Bitcoin and as much as I'm like a super nerd, anyone who knows me in real life is like, you are such a nerd about Bitcoin. But I get tired. I even get tired of, I want something that stimulates my mind. I want to have something curious. I want something that gets me thinking. Because I feel like the same stuff, it just like doesn't spark, I want to feel alive and think of something I haven't thought of before. So that's where my conversations kind of lead. I want it to be, and it's not like I don't hear a lot of those in other podcasts. I'm just saying that's how I like to just stay curious. And
What is the core difference between the two podcasted and how they complement each other?
That's a great question. I don't get asked about the hive minded very often, and I think it's so much fun. And it's kind of sporadic. So that one is more like you get lucky when you see that we're going live, because I do live episodes with my crew. So it's a panel style show. And it's with my husband and three of my friends. And it is the funniest group of people. So just like I said, I'm looking for something to spark my mind and my curiosity. It's another variation of that with the hive minded, because it's based on humor. And I'm not saying I'm the funny one. I'm just the one laughing at all the jokes, and I'm like the host, but the guys are hilarious and they really play off each other so well. And I'm just so glad we have that group of people that is able to, I don't know, we just banter and we laugh, and it's hilarious, and our cheeks hurt when we're done. And I think that people in Bitcoin would appreciate it. People in Bitcoin would appreciate a show like that, because again, it is something different and it's just a fun time. It feels like you're just hanging out with friends. And then people that it ties in with what I'm doing with the Bitcoin Nova podcast, trying to expand the horizons a bit, because the topics that we cover are just not talking about Bitcoin the whole time. We again tie into it, but there are other ideas, and it is the most random topics sometimes, and it's so great, and it's some of my favorite conversations. It can draw in people who aren't necessarily looking for a specifically Bitcoin podcast, but they see Bitcoiners talking and how we are not arguing about politics and worrying about Trump, and you know what I mean, all the stuff that people kind of hear on the internet all the time. We're just
Mhm.
doing other things, so I think it's just enjoyable, and it's a great time, and it's usually later at night, and it's super random. So it's been a while since I posted my last one, but I'm looking forward to doing another episode soon. And my husband's almost done with school for the summer, so we'll have more free time to do
Nice,
some more live with the Hive episodes. Yes.
nice, nice. So like more fun on X is waiting for us.
Yes, for sure.
let's go, let's go. That's nice. Let's go. That's really nice. So like
Mhm.
I have two podcasts too. I have about this and I have about wrestling. If you know the WWE. So like I am my thing is like I want not to talk. I want to be with people and like sometimes I don't want to be like just like the about the life and this. Sometimes I want to talk about what I love. This is WWE and stories and this. So I completely understand why are you
Yeah.
doing this and yeah.
That's what makes you you. That's what makes you unique. And whatever it is that you're passionate about. I mean, I know a lot of us that are into Bitcoin, we're very passionate about Bitcoin, but whatever makes you happy and different in yourself is something that people will resonate with, even if it's like a few people that just really enjoy it. It makes you feel good to connect with other people anywhere across the world and have people that are looking forward to your content.
True. So what does a typical episode in production in process look like for you? How much time and work goes to the one episode from idea to publish?
My gosh, okay. Interesting. So I do everything myself. So that's okay. So including the recording.
Yes, like everything.
Okay. Well, okay. That's okay. So you, I'm like, I've never really thought about this because I think I sort of break down my episode in pieces because I'm a mom and I work and I am a wife and I feel like 30 different jobs. So when I edit, after I do my recording, I'm usually going through my edits, finding clips, which I love Riverside for because it finds automatic clips for me. And then I go in and I tweak how long I want to have these clips for. The most time consuming part post recording is finding the clips I want to use as my intro. And even though Riverside does most of the work for me, I'm just kind of a perfectionist where I'm kind of artsy about it. I just care about each conversation. Like I said, I care so much that I want to make it nice and it just makes me happy. I enjoy it. So I know some people end up getting editors for their show eventually, but I feel like that's part of the fun for me also. So I don't know. That's why it'd be nice to do this full time one day so I could do all of it and not feel like I'm stretched too thin. So yeah, I find my clips. That takes me, I guess, between that. Okay, so let's say an hour for recording the podcast. Do we count booking and the idea? The idea is really, I just connect with somebody and they join me. And then, so let's say an hour and a half, maybe like, I would say like 3 hours.
Mhm.
But then here's the other thing you forget that once you post it, then I have to put it on Fountain, and I have to put it on Rumble, then I have to share it on X, then I have to share it on Noster, then I'm sharing it on, Instagram and wherever. I'm sharing shorts. I'm always trying to find ways to optimize my time. So I even found an app that you can upload shorts to TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube shorts at once. So I've been using this app, which is new for me. So I'm able to do, one post, three things go out. So that's
Nice.
great. And that helps me a lot. But when it comes to posting my full episodes, yeah, I'm sharing it here. I'm sharing it there. I'm sharing it on Club Orange. I'm sharing it with the Geo Zaps that I do. So it's almost like the market. Is that marketing? Is that considered marketing? Because you're not just putting it out there for the world. Then I'm optimizing my SEO and I'm changing up my titles if because there's a lot that goes into the algo on YouTube. So I'm trying to optimize my titles. If it doesn't look like people are viewing it, I want more eyes on it. So I'm changing either titles or thumbnails. So I don't know. I don't want to give a real answer on how much time it takes me, but I feel like it takes, if I'm being honest, maybe like 4 hours an episode,
Mhm.
maybe. But
Interesting.
that's because I'm crazy and I like to, go back and check on things. I'm always checking how optimized things are and I'm checking, keywords and what other keywords could I add and where can I share another clip or a short or something or just stay engaged with the community and comment back to the replies and you know what I mean? Just being there.
Yeah.
So it's not always just posting, it's being there for the community once you post it and to be able to support and, all that stuff. It's all part of it in a way. But I enjoy every minute of it. So it's not like it's work where you're thinking like you're exhausted when you come back. It's very fun to do and it's very energizing, like I said before.
Yeah. So like for me, like I have different platforms. I have Apple Podcasting, Spotify, this. So yeah, it's but the what take more time is like to create like the thumbnail for me, the best like the name of the episode.
Right.
Create the best like what is going to be there for the audience.
You know what helps me a lot for creating titles? I try to use Riverside AI as a base.
Mhm.
So I ask it, what do you think it should be titled? And it'll give me a few options, and I have that in my head. But as I'm going through finding the clips for my intro, and I start off with like, what are the main ideas that I really want to take away that I end up using as my intro, then I kind of like sit on it for a minute and I think about what is the real message behind this episode. And but then I'm still kind of like tweaking titles again from that point. But it helps me kind of think of what's the biggest idea I can take out of this episode to make it clear for people what it was about. But yeah, writing the title is hard. Like thinking of
Yeah.
a good title for every episode, that is hard. And then finding good headshots, for people. It's always tough trying to, find a good moment in the podcast where I'm clipping a photo of each of
Yeah.
us, because I don't want to I've tried using the AI generated stuff a little bit. It just changes who we are. Like it kind of takes the soul out of the person when you just use an AI software to create the actual thumbnail fully, and it looks very clickbaity. So I don't want it to look like that. I want it to look real and like it's our faces in some kind of background. So it does take time, but it's because we care. And I
Mhm.
would realistically love to know how much time other creators spend on their podcast episodes. That
Yeah,
would be
so
my
like
question.
if you have a YouTube and so if you have a YouTube and you watch this, comment below how much time.
Yes,
Comment.
yes. Even if you're not the podcaster yourself, but you're the
Yeah,
person doing the editing, I want to know how much time it takes
yeah,
you to edit the episode from start to finish and put it out
yeah,
there. It's going to be very interesting because it's something you don't think about. Again, because I do it in segments and I do it between work. If I'm slow for a half hour, I'll be like, oh, I have to go finish up whatever I was editing. Find my thumbnail and do all that stuff. So yeah, comment below. We want to know.
yeah, yeah. So tell us about a guest or episode that had the biggest impact on you personally or on the audience.
That's a tough question. I would say two recent guests really stick out in my mind. And there's so many though. There's so many. This is tough. Okay, so I'm gonna go with these because Joshua, the Mexican magician, I was so proud of him. I am so proud of him and his journey, and the fact that it's not just he that did it, and it's not just the fact that he was able to change his life and his trajectory and get himself out of the situation he was in, but the fact that he knows how important it is to be that inspiration for other people. And he goes and speaks to other people that were in his same situation to show them that he did it, because sometimes that's all people need to see, is that someone like them or somebody that knows what they've been through done done it, and they're free and they're doing well. So it's so important that he is helping others, so he's able to, I don't know, that was so emotional for me, but how he speaks about his family and being a father. It was very emotional for me. It was so inspiring, and it was such a feel good episode. And I think I'll just never forget that. And he's just always been around, since forever. As far as it comes to the community, he's been a friend, so it's been really great having his support along the way. He has probably gotten me many of subscribers on my channel because he's got such
Yeah,
a huge
me too.
fan base.
Me too.
Yeah,
Me too.
so supportive.
Me too.
His support is unreal. Like he works so hard, but he's there. Like he'll see a post and he reposts all the time. Like he's always like just very consistent. He's such a good friend. So besides him, then it was also my husband's friend, Joe Hain, that was on my show. And that was actually, I'm very thankful to my husband for opening my eyes up to the fact that I don't have to have full on Bitcoin conversations. He's the one who's kind of like, "Oh, this might be an interesting talk on your show." Because his friend is a mindset coach, and his friend had an impact on me for starting the podcast too. He was probably part of it because, there was times when I was first learning about Bitcoin, or even prior to that, when I met him, he had told me, I don't know, he was telling me about his journey, and it was such a crazy story about what he's been through. So very similar to Josh. they've both been through hardship and pain and this huge transformation. So that's interesting that it was two of those guests that it really, really hit me, and they both have a similar sort of story. But he, when I first heard about him having a YouTube channel way before I ever even thought I'd have one, I was watching some of his videos, and one of the things that he said really stuck with me. And I think that's what led to my journey to having a more positive outlook and not being my own worst enemy as far as in my mind, because he would always talk about this observer. So whenever you're angry or upset or some kind of emotion, instead of just sitting there inside and thinking you can't escape this, you can kind of go outside of your mind and look at yourself and be the observer of your own actions and think, would I like to be friends with that person? So it's like you're looking from the outside in and how you're acting
Mhm.
and think, why am I acting like that? So those words, just the way he spoke about that was such an interesting conversation, and it really stuck with me. So that was one of the things that I felt like I found myself doing a lot. And I think it really helped me overcome a lot of anxiety I would have in my life, or just feeling stuck or feeling like low vibration or negative energy. It helped me kind of get outside of that, and I think be able to move forward and try new things in my life without having this kind of like thing holding me back.
Like for me, was also just magician. I love clean dirty hands, clean money. I love this. This is the best. This is the
I know.
best. This is the best quote. Like
I know.
this is the wow. So like shout out to him
Seriously.
and yeah, best.
It's
And
because people are just, it just tells you, don't be lazy, don't look for the easy way out. Like, you'll be proud of yourself if you put some work in. So the dirty hand is like, do some work, get dirty, make some money, and stack sats, save it in Bitcoin. So that whole thing is just so powerful, 'cause people can be just feeling like, what can I do in life? Go work, go put some work in.
yeah.
So I think that it's amazing. I love how he's so amped and gets people amped up.
And second was like the Australian veteran was good episode
Which
because
one?
he was Australian veteran from the
Yeah.
military.
Huh. Yeah.
I don't know if you see this episode, like the latest, but it was really touchy and it was really like you understand more about the mindset of these people, how they have like not easy mindset even after that left, and how important is brotherhood and how life can be like really quickly ended and how
Yeah.
to appreciate the things.
Right. I know that's the thing, to reflect, and I don't know, just hearing all these people, you hear their story, and it really hits you and has you looking at the world a different way.
How do you choose topics and guesses? What makes great Bitcoin Nova episode in your eyes?
If I think somebody has a very interesting project on X, I usually reach out to them because I want to know more. If they have a very fierce defense over the community, or just about Bitcoin in general, keeping it decentralized and secure, and if they have, just like an interesting comment or just like the way they talk, I'm just like, hey, I like that comment. Can you join my show? Like, that's usually where it goes. Like, it's just like, I really liked what you said. I thought that was cool. I think you sound cool. I just want to talk to you. So that's really how it is. And then other than that, if people suggest guests for me, and I don't really ask them about, I mean, I've thought about asking them what topics they want to discuss, but usually I just kind of figure, I still kind of get into a little bit of the journey, but it's sort of just a natural flowing conversation. I just ask them a little bit about themselves to start, I guess. If it's a Bitcoiner I found on X, if it's somebody like from outside, like the mindset coach, that's my husband's friend, or another one of his friends, we were talking about ancestry and lineage, and how we're so connected as people. That one, I knew the whole episode would be about ancestry and family lineage. So that was easy. I knew that was the topic. I knew the mindset coach would be all about mental health and those types of things. So it just depends on who it is. If it's inside of Twitter or X, or if it's somebody outside that I'm bringing in to kind of talk about anything else and touch on Bitcoin and see if I could orange pill them in the process. Those are topics where I pretty much know it's very clear. But when it comes to the Bitcoin people, it's just, I know that I just love the natural flowing conversation, and things come out that surprise me about everybody, and their personality shines through, which is amazing. So I like to kind of see how it unfolds, and I don't like to plan too much. I spent so much time actually going into that other question about what how long the process takes me from asking the guests to the final product. After I would ask a guest, I would spend so much time researching them. I would look at their posts, I would look at their websites, I would have all these ideas, bullet points, all this stuff I would do to see what I was going to talk about and how I was going to lay out the episode and what questions to ask. And it just sort of helped me like with a mind map of things that we could touch on. But as I would press record, I barely looked at that. Even if I tried making it bigger and having like a pin board where I could glance at, and none of it worked. I feel like I was just so into the person and kind of one thing leading to another as the conversation went on that time was just something that I don't spend doing anymore. It's almost more fun when you get to know the person on your episode instead of doing a lot of that in the background, because it just made it feel a little bit more, I don't know. I just didn't want it to feel so practiced, or almost it would make me more nervous too, over preparing. So I kind of like just keeping it natural.
And this is new for me. I'm like doing like if they talk about most of the time about Bitcoin, or if they only have a Bitcoin, or any other activities or ideas, because like I don't want to be just another podcast with thousand, like, so I want to be something different, something what I can bring to the world about my guesses. So yeah, this is my.
That's great. Yeah, you do want to have that
Yeah.
background enough to know what they might be interested in, to see how you can, or their projects, or that's
Yeah.
a great point. You want to know
So,
where you could direct the conversation, and that makes a really
podcasting
great host.
in Bitcoin space can be very opinionated. How do you handle disagreement or controversial topics on your show?
I just say what I'm thinking, and I try to think about the fact that I'm never rude to my guests, and usually they agree with what I'm talking about. I've never had somebody who, there was only one time, I'm not gonna lie. There was one time where we were having a friendly discussion and it was great and we didn't fight about it, but we were both stating our perspectives back and forth, and it went very well. And it wasn't like we were angry at each other. We were just very respectful and just being real. Like, I was real about what I thought I would. But when you listen to the other person's perspective and you're not shutting them down and saying, no, you're stupid, you know what I mean? Like, why do you think that? Like, just, okay, let them say they're part of it. And if you don't agree, say why I don't agree. And then they can come back. And it was just like a debate, but just, I guess, letting people finish their thought and then sharing your honest opinion about it without being like a jerk. You know what I mean? Just be like, they're people, like we are people with each other, and maybe they haven't thought about something you are saying. So maybe they might not agree with you in the moment. Maybe you might not agree with them, but maybe something they say might make you think of it differently, and maybe the other way around. So, and that's how I think it should be on Twitter Spaces too. I don't think people should act like they know everything. I'm not a very big fan of people that know everything. And I know that when I state an opinion, for the most part, I know that Bitcoin is Bitcoin and the network is the network. And I'm not talking about predictions of, ETFs and traders and all this other stuff. I don't know about that stuff, but I know what Bitcoin is. And so any opinion that I have about other topics, I'm okay with admitting I'm wrong about something. I like to learn, and that's part of being curious. And I'm very interested in always learning about new things or how I might change my perspective. I think it's a dangerous thing to stay stuck in a mindset. So for people that think they know everything and refuse to ever open their mind to anything new, it's kind of almost surprising that they even found Bitcoin when it comes to that idea. It's like, if people are closed-minded, how did they ever look and think that the money's broken? It's like you had to be curious enough to have an open
Absolutely
mind
true.
to
And
get here in
I
the first
think
place.
podcasting should not be war. Podcasting should be like a conversation with two people or three, like with people like classy and everything.
Yeah, it should be
Yeah.
enjoyable to the people. Like, you're doing it to reach an audience, you're doing it for your listeners. So, I mean, you
Mhm.
want to do it in a way
Yeah.
where people are
So,
valuing their time spent.
what is the biggest lesson you learn about building and maintaining an engaged audience through podcasting? Yeah,
And building
through
an audience
audience.
and engaging
Yeah.
with them. Yeah. Well, I think that the best thing to do is think of how I felt watching podcasts, and it's something that you're feeling too. That's why you want to share another side of it and things that you're passionate about, because I think we're getting to a point as Bitcoiners that when you've been in Bitcoin enough time, like I'm not considered an OG by any means. I got into Bitcoin in 2020, but I think that I got to a point that I've put in my podcast time. It's like you can learn about the evolving landscape of how macroeconomics is going and how this world is shifting to a Bitcoin standard. It'll happen eventually. And if you want to keep updated step by step and follow it, it feels like you're watching water boil. When you're it's like at some point you learned about Bitcoin already. Now you're staring at the pot, waiting for it to, it's boring. Like I'm sorry, I'm so honest when it comes to that, but I'm getting to the point where it's hard to listen to stuff that isn't sparking my curiosity or just thinking about something interesting. Like I don't know. Like there are some people that have a way of delivering the information. For example, Jack Mahler's. I like listening to his show. I like Mailbag Mondays. And I like when he talks because that's how I get my news almost if I want to tune in. I don't tune in every single Monday, but I like to get into his show and listen to most of it or parts of it. I don't listen to the whole thing always, but that's how I get like a good dose of, hey, I need to catch up on some stuff, what's been going on with, the macro situation in the world and stuff like that. So there are certain people who deliver it in a way that I value my time there too. But for the most part, you have to think about how you feel. And I was feeling like I got burned out. Like I was getting burnt out by, and I'm like, and I didn't want to listen to podcasts about buying homes or anything else. Like I still want to listen to Bitcoiners, so I was like, I just wish there was something different. I wish that there was, and that's where I love Paula's podcast and she's the one that brought me in and I'm so glad because her show, she has really good questions. She's really great with her guests and that's why I'm so glad that she's that type of thinker that thinks outside and she thought to bring me on. And I had never spoken before. I was a community builder. I had never, I was thinking, why would she ask me? So she's the type of person who I'm grateful for in her show where she inspired me to do what I'm doing and do something different. And not because she's trying to chase the clicks of the ETF news and blah, blah. She's trying to find people in Bitcoin who are doing interesting things that she cares to talk about and share with others. So that's what I value and that's what I love. And that's why
That's
I wanted to kind of
that's
follow
nice.
along that
And
path.
this is almost like me because the live podcast is about to bring people who is not famous, who is not like big stars, but normal people who trying to get businesses or do normal job. And this is like what I'm missing in this podcast space because like always like some big names, movie stars, and this but never normal pe- pe- people like never
Right.
never like well, I'm not gonna say never but like more is like 1% like 99 is like the big stars and multimillionaires and this.
I know. And that's why I think that going to meet Bitcoiners even in real life, which I've done a lot more recently, that's a newer development in my connection journey in the Bitcoin space is I'm a huge fan of Club Orange and I love the events. I don't know if you've been using it, but I use it often when I go to meetups and I like to check the events on there. So when I've met Bitcoiners in real life, I just think that they are some of the most genuine people, just like how I thought the ones I would have podcasts with were that when I meet them in real life, me and my husband both enjoy going out with them and hanging out with them. And we look forward to the next meetup here in our area and even going to conferences. It's been such a great experience and it's so much different than a lot of the interactions we experience with people in everyday life. It feels like it's just a different group of people and it's so nice, and they're not these huge names that people know about. They're just Bitcoiners in our area building Bitcoin and so many are doing so many incredible things and they have such great personalities and they're just people who it would be nice to show people their journeys or just how they are as people. Just if people see how this community interacts and what they talk about and the kind of people they are,
Do
it's
you
just
do with
infectious.
that
And that's what
with
I like
that
sharing
like
more.
meetup? Do you do some like the quick interviews or no?
So we are going to start. So there are people they've created this Chicago Bitcoin Collective here where I live, and it's a Bitcoin co-working space and a restaurant called Fork and Coin. So the restaurant's opening sometime next month, and it's like I had heard a lot of people tell me about PubKey lately. And I hadn't heard about that prior to going to Bitcoin meetups. So they would always tell me, if you're ever in New York, you should go to PubKey. And I realized what they're building here is a Chicago version of that. So the place is already really nice. I've actually gone there and I've done
Nice.
haircuts because that's what I do for a living right now. So I've actually done haircuts for sats. So like I go there and I posted a live video or two. I think one live video I did at the location where I was doing haircuts, but the restaurant hadn't been open yet. So that's why we were able to do the haircuts in the back, because they were still doing construction. But once the restaurant portion is open, it would possibly be in the collective space that they have upstairs, there could be a section up there where I do haircuts, or maybe in the garage, they're going to be fixing that up for possibly a podcast studio. So there's so many possibilities. They are redoing their patio, I think, soon. So it's going to be really nice. And we're going to host events there. And they are looking forward to doing some sort of podcast, even sort of a farmer's market. We have a lot of Bitcoiners in the area that are bringing things to the farmers market. There's someone who runs a homestead who is bringing eggs and maple syrup and meat like lamb and different things. And he encouraged me to bottle some of our olive oil and honey that we get from Greece, because, me and my husband, our family's from Greece, so we get huge jugs of it. So he's like, you should bottle that and sell that at the meetup for sats. So we've been doing this little thing on the side just to be able to share our resources with other people who want really good ingredients and be able to exchange for stats. So it's kind of like I would like to record these sort of like Sunday
Dreams.
farmers markets and kind of
Basically
live stream
things.
those
Things.
at the Chicago
Nice.
co-working space. So
So,
evolving, yeah.
last two questions I have. Where do you see the Bitcoin Nova and Bitcoin Army in next 1 or 2 years? What is your big version for them, and what is your dream collab for Bitcoin Nova, and what is your dream member for Bitcoin Army?
I think the Bitcoin Nova, I feel like it's one of those things where I see big things for it, but it's like how Bitcoin, like I see a great future for Bitcoin. It's not like I can predict the price in a year or two. That's how I think it's like one of those things. I can't predict how many subscribers I'll have. I can't predict, but I just know it's great and I know it's going great and I know people enjoy it, and I think it's genuine and real and true. So I feel like it's very Bitcoin, but I think the Bitcoin Army is so important because, even though they are getting rid of the X communities, which is where we started, we've already grown into, Discord and into Club Orange. And we've already been meeting in real life and having meetups all over the nation. There's been, our Chicago meetup, then Michelle has also been hosting events, and other people have done little Bitcoin Army gatherings wherever we're located, even if it's during a conference. So I see the connection growing. I see us sticking together and showing the entire Bitcoin space that it's not just some community that started called Bitcoin or whatever that has a bunch of people just trying for themselves to share posts. Like, this is actually real. This is a grassroots community that people care about each other, people support each other, just like how we both are supported by Josh and we support him. And that's what this is. This is like connection after connection. And it's like the nodes, and it's actually, we are a mirror of Bitcoin itself, and we actually all work together. We're not trying to put each other down, and we're actually trying to support and grow together and connect. We actually want to connect, and again, not to say that the rest of the Bitcoin space on Twitter doesn't act that way. Like, they do. People talk and people connect all the time, but I think that we just have this new generation. I think the Bitcoin Army is just the new generation of leaders. I just really see that. The generation that was hosting spaces before we came around, they all know each other. Like, they've been around together for a long time. But then now we are the next group of people that came in, and we've been together. We've gone through things together. We created community together, and then we got it destroyed together. But we are not being taken apart together. We formed something that is real.
And who
we are
is
just that
your
next group of
dream
leaders. That's how I see it.
collab in your podcast, and who you want to see dream like member of the Bitcoin Army?
I was so happy that Jack Mullers joined as a member of the Bitcoin Army. So he is in there. And that was a great day for us. We were super excited. And I think that I especially like that because he is from Chicago. So I'm happy that he's in the group. I also would love to have him on the podcast one day. That would be amazing because he just has this style that's really just very real. And I appreciate the authenticity. I look for authenticity. So I just want to have a normal, good conversation. I love his show. And I know he's busy, so I know that would be very difficult to have him on. But even the fact that he's a Chicago guy and we have the Chicago Bitcoin Collective, it would be amazing if he were to come to visit
I
that
was
someday
thinking
because it would
you're
just be a
gonna
really great time.
say the guy Da Vinci who said in 2013 buy Bitcoin you for $1. I was thinking you're gonna say him.
Yeah. Well, I would like to have him on.
I was thinking this is
That
your
guy's
dream.
awesome.
Gaurav. How do I know
Is he in
that?
Chicago?
How do I know that?
I didn't
No,
know.
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
You knew that?
I
He is
know
from
that.
Chicago? I thought he was. I thought maybe you like looked it up. Whatever. Anyway, it would be cool to have him on. He's a cool guy. I've
Yeah,
told people people know about that guy even if
yeah,
they don't know about Bitcoin. They're like, remember that guy that said, so that's pretty awesome. So yeah, that would be great. I just wonder how hard
and
some of
that's
these
true.
people are to contact. Imagine how many spam emails they get every day. So if they know you need a connection sometimes, someone to tell someone else about you to
That's
join the
true.
show because when they're bombarded by emails, it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to read through them and think like which one of these is a real person because nowadays everyone's
Yeah.
the email using AI, so they all sound the same, whether it's a bot or whether it's a scammer or me. It's like sometimes I use my AI just to kind of like clean up what I'm writing. So maybe to them it's like who's real? I don't know. So hit me up, anyone who wants to join the Bitcoinova podcast. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You guys gotta
So
message us too
the
so we can
final
verify somehow.
question is if you
You know?
could give one
Yeah.
piece of advice to someone who wants to start a podcast and build a community in the Bitcoin space, what would it be?
I would say to start talking in the community. I would say even though, there isn't a Bitcoin army anymore on X, I think X is huge for connecting with Bitcoiners. And we do have a couple lists going. I have like a BitcoinNova list going, and Michelle has started a Bitcoin Army list on X. So following those accounts, commenting, showing yourself around the space, supporting each other, that's where it started for me. So it's just kind of appreciating someone's thoughts and letting them know about it. That's where it starts. So I feel like following those Bitcoin Army lists would be great. I
Okay.
could share the link so you can add it, to the also Club Orange. Club Orange is a great place to go and connect with the community because once you connect, it's they give you the encouragement and the support. When you want to try something, they are very supportive. And it also, for me, it was accountability. Once I said I was joining somebody on a podcast, they were also
Mm-hmm.
amped up for me that I felt like I was letting them down if I chickened out and didn't do it. So I'm like, I have to do this. I told them I was going to. So it was that accountability when you have Bitcoin friends in a community. So I would say build that community, get connected with them through Club Orange, through Discord, through whatever it is, through the lists. We're everywhere. We're in real life too. And I think that's what it is. Get connected. And then you get that motivation and that strength. Once you start connecting with Bitcoiners, you are so motivated. I can't tell you how many people saw Josh's episode and were talking about how inspired they were, how motivated or how energized. So being around these people just gives you like, you want to try something new. You're just like so amped up. You have all this energy. And then it's when you have support like that, makes the fear feel very small. So even if you have a little bit of fear, it's super easy to just put
Yeah.
that aside. And even if you have
So
it, just
like
don't think about it. Just do it.
the links for the Discord and for the meetup is going to be down below these videos, so you can join, guys. So Stacy, thank you so much for going so deep into your podcast journey and the Bitcoin army. Thank you.
You're thank you so much for having me. It was such a time. You had really great questions, and I can't
Of
wait.
course.
I can't wait to see
And
it. And
guys, if this
thank you
episode
so much for having me on.
inspires you, smash the like button right now and comment I am in or Bitcoin Army and turn on notifications so you don't miss next one. Stacy, thank you again. Keep building and
Yeah.
I see you guys on the next episode.